a front row in my life.
It's exciting to dress up like her today. Anyway, you are just amazing, and I'm so excited that you are indeed an activist. And so I wanted to see if you could speak a little bit to the effect of working with Eve Ensler on both the Vagina Monologues and then 1 Billion Rising, both really close to my heart.
Love. So Eve Ensler is a goddess. She is the amazing goddess who brought us the Vagina Monologues, raising millions of dollars around the world, having thousands of events around the world over many years now. I've been on the board since I was like 24, 25. It's been a little over 10 years. And it's been this remarkable experience. You know, the thing that works so brilliantly about that organization is the fact that it is based in art. And I think that's been something that's created leadership all around the world, because people can take those plays and do performances and raise funds then for themselves. And by having productions by women, for women, about women, as women, is a pretty profound experience. Like, I've watched a lot of actresses and different artists and people over the years who are not at all activists come in and go, yeah, I got asked to do this monologue, whatever, and there's no way you just do a monologue about rape or abuse or confusion or frustration or growing pains or any moans even, like whatever. There's some really fun ones in there. And it's been amazing. I remember I was doing, my first big one was at the Apollo Theater, and my dad rides motorcycles and fixes motorcycles, and he thinks they're way safer than pretty much any other thing. And it was a summer where there were a lot of people getting pushed in the trains, and he heard our neighbor Richard starting up his Harley downstairs, and he's like, oh, how are you getting up to the Apollo? I was like, oh, I was gonna take the train. He was like, no, go with Richard, it'll be safer. I'm like, sure. So I drop in the back, so now I'm with Richard, and he's gotta wait for me to go to my rehearsal, and this is like Richard, who, you know, spray paints motorcycles in a very tight enclosed space and huffs paint all day, and is really, really awesome, that doesn't normally go and sit and listen to a bunch of women talk about their vaginas ad nauseum. And it was the most amazing thing, because there were all these incredible actresses, and some really much older, in their 80s and like beyond, and he sat there and he was like turning blush red, just like, oh. But by the end of it, he came out and he was like, you know, it suddenly occurred to me, if this woman isn't afraid or embarrassed talking about her vagina, why should I be embarrassed hearing about it? And then he really enjoyed himself the rest of the way. It was like, how provocative and profound is that as an opportunity? So it's now turned into, after Eve got cancer, she ended up having to get the exact same surgery that the women that she works with in the Congo have to get, because the rapes there are so violent that the women have to be sewn up completely from the fistula and incontinence that they experience. And she ended up having to get the exact same surgery, and she was like, I think the stress and working and taking on all those stories all the time created cancer in my body. And so she just became that much more radical and that much more free after surviving it, and that's where 1 Billion Rising came from. And 1 Billion Rising is a reaction to the UN statistic that 1 in 3 women will be raped, killed, or beaten in her lifetime. So that accounts for over 1 billion people on the planet, and that's just unacceptable. And so she asked for people to stand up against that, but not just stand up and like protest and anger and like, it's not rioting, any of that. To stand up and dance, to be in our bodies and show what the world could look like if women felt safe and honored and in their bodies, like how special. And I just thought, like, what a remarkable woman you are, you know, like the organization's being sort of dismantled. Vita is really kind of just dismantled. There's a lot of people doing pushback going, oh, there's not enough transgender people or people of color in vagina monologues. And she's like, great. If we've hit that point in our culture where now the vagina monologues is tame, when before you couldn't even talk about it to do press years ago with it because it had the word vagina in it. People couldn't even get access to breast cancer stuff because you couldn't say breast. I mean, just how far we've come. She was like, great, I'm gonna go back to being an artist. I'll never come up with a better idea than 1 Billion Rising. And because we did this for so many years in events all around the world, and we helped people become leaders in their own communities, it's now theirs. And 1 Billion Rising campaigns are happening all over the world. It's terrorism in the positive way. There's like no known leader, it's just this incredible network. And I'm grateful to be a part of it, and I'm glad that you care about it. Actually, it inspired me on a trip to the Congo. I went with my friend Rima, and we started, we'd been talking for many years about creating something, and we ended up creating a fashion line and an e-commerce platform, which we're gonna use to promote other artisans on the ground, but in Africa. So this is recycled Guinness bottles, because Again, as we know, I don't abuse alcohol. I drink it and then I make joy with the bottles. And we work with indigo from Mali and batiking and just really like showing, my great-grandmother worked with the Ladies International Ladies Garment Workers Union. And it's just the power of sewing, what that can do and be able to raise a family. And to be able to make sure you're doing that ethically. So that's what we got from 1 Billion Rising, going to the Congo and seeing these women there. And I mean, again, the violence that they've been through, but they're carrying trees on their heads and they're dancing and they're celebrating what today can bring them. And it just clicked for us. And so we want to not create this in the world, we want to create partnership in the world. And so that's what I get to do, and Eve has been my mentor in doing that. She gets very proud. Kerry Washington's on the board, has been Salma Hayek, I met Jane Fonda there. I mean, such amazing, Donna Karan, it's really remarkable, Pat Mitchell, really remarkable people. And I remember I did something with Kerry and we were both speaking and Eve was like, I know I can retire. I've passed this on. And that's a really important thing. You can hear Harry Belafonte complain about that he didn't do that. They helped during the civil rights movement. They made really, really important strides, and then people took jobs and they didn't pass the baton. It's very important to pass the baton. It's one of the things I remember, sorry, I told you guys we're never gonna get to you because I really wanted answers. I'll end with this, but I remember my friend said she had talked to Chelsea Clinton after reading Bill Clinton's book. And she'd never thought about it, but her dad was a little boy during segregation. And she didn't think about that until she'd read his book. And she read it and she was like, whoa, wow, Dad, what that must have been like. What did you do about it? Was her first question. And just know, each and every one of you at some point will get asked that question. Because there's a lot of things that are happening right here, right now. It's not about being nostalgic and looking at the past, or about always assuming we're just gonna get there somehow in the future. We have to participate. And there's gonna be a lot of kids at some point are gonna look at you and go, wow, during all of these things that were going on in the world, what did you do about it? And hopefully you can all say you voted at least.